Here at the third annual Agro Expo, there were a number of educational sessions throughout the two-day show, one of which was on soybean cyst nematode resistance. And here to talk about that with us today is Karen Zuver, a field agronomist with Pioneer. Karen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, soybean cyst nematode resistance is an ongoing issue and it's a cause for concern. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening.
So as we look at soybean cyst nematode resistance, it's really about a selection of the population that's going on. So there are different types that occur in the soil and in that biology within the soil. And by selecting the same type of resistance within soybeans, you're kind of building up those other types or allowing those other types to survive. So we're starting to see that shift to those other types of soybean cyst nematodes, which can cause yield loss in the end.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the yield loss. How significant of an impact is it having on yields?
When you talk about yield loss with soybean cyst nematode, the environment is going to drive a lot of that. If we have a good environment, good moisture situation, good fertility, you're not going to see as much of an impact from soybean cyst nematode. So sometimes it seems like it's the silent yield robber that's out there. But really, if you get those types of situations where you have extreme drought, there can be a significant yield loss. Michigan State did a study a number of years ago looking at resistant and susceptible varieties. And in that, there was a yield difference between 13.5 bushel was the lowest and 75 was the highest. Now that's significant pressure, those were significant situations, but the main point is it can be a very significant yield loss, and I've seen in my years of observation as much as a 20 bushel yield loss in fields due to soybean cyst nematode resistance issues.
Let's talk about management strategies. How do you avoid running into those kind of severe losses?
So you talk about management strategies with soybean cyst nematode. It starts with rotation and making sure that we're rotating crops. That's number one. Reduce that opportunity for that insect to feed on those and take away the host. Secondly, you look at rotating your types of resistances. So we do have the PI 88788, which is very common in soybean varieties throughout the state. There's also the peaking source resistance that offers that alternate source resistance to combat those other populations of soybean cyst nematodes.
All right, Karen, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
From the 2018 Agro Expo, I'm Janelle Brose.